Are we surprised by the firing of Les Miles? Which rookie quarterback has impressed us the most? And our thoughts on Norman Beckham Part 2? Find out next. MCTV Sports 101 starts now. Hey there, sports fans, and welcome to MCTV Sports 101. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. On Sunday, the LSU Tigers announced the firing of head coach Les Miles and offensive coordinator Cam Cameron after the 18-13 loss to Auburn on Saturday. The Tigers came into the season ranked number 5 in the country, where they were a popular pick to make the playoffs. But after 4 weeks, LSU is 2-2 and have dropped out of the top 25. The offense has continued to struggle despite having an abundance of talent on that side of the ball. An improved offense was promised by Miles at the end of last season, but the improvement had yet to be seen. Ed Orgeron will take over as interim head coach for the remainder of the season. Kyle, were you surprised at the firing of Miles and Cameron, and what does the firing mean for the Tigers moving forward this season?
Well, I don't want to say I was surprised by the firing because I expected it to come. They should have just done it last season. Les Miles was considered to be fired at one point last year before the last season win against A&M in the last home game of the year. So you don't do it in the middle of the season. 4 games into the year. I mean, I understand if you don't want them there, you don't want them there. But you can't do it in the middle of the year because what's it doing to your program? You can't go hire anybody now. Now you have Ed Orgeron taking over as head coach. Well, what does that do? That doesn't do anything.
Well, I gotta disagree a little bit because you know what? This has been a big disappointing season for LSU.
Oh, I agree with that.
LSU hasn't been relevant since they've won the national championship back in 2007.
They have not.
And they've been 2013. I believe the highest they finished was number 14 in the country, and that's the highest finish they've had in quite a while now. And it's just, you know, you want to see improvement. You know, you like this defensive style that, you know, Les Miles brings. But, you know, over the years, just the offense is consistently not getting better. And at this point, LSU fans, they want to win. They want a championship. That's all they care about.
They have the talent to.
And exactly. So now, by firing him in the middle of the season, maybe that fires them up. Maybe it doesn't. True. I don't know. But either way, it doesn't hurt their chances because their championship season was out of the door anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think right now it doesn't really make a difference. But look, I want to talk about the decline that you talked about. So 2007, they won the national championship. 2011, they went back to the national championship. That was the game they lost to Alabama. Okay, since then, they've been 37-14, which is a great record for anybody. But if you look at the 8 seasons prior to that, 77-20 was Miles' record. So you see he's almost compiled the same amount of losses in the 4 seasons, excuse me, in the previous 4 seasons that he did in his 8 seasons prior. So you have seen a decline in the program. The offense has gone down. The one thing I will have a problem with, I understand the Les Miles firing. The Cam Cameron firing, they've reported that was not LSU's call. Ed Orgeron, the interim head coach, was the one that made that call on Cam Cameron. I have a problem with that. Ed Orgeron does not have the power to make that call, in my opinion. He's the interim head coach.
He's been in the house for long enough to where that offense.
But he's the interim
Cam Cameron's got something to do with that offense, though. He's got a reason why they haven't been.
Cam Cameron has done a great job as the offense coordinator so far. It's just, like Les Miles hasn't allowed him to open up that offense. Now, Cam Cameron, he has had a problem. I understand that. It is his offense. They have struggled. It is his fault, too. I'm not saying I disagree with him being fired. I have a problem with Ed Orgeron making the call.
That's fair.
I have a problem with that.
That's fair.
Moving on to the NFL, 2 rookie quarterbacks in Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott have impressed through the first 3 games of their careers. Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles are off to a 3-0 start, including a 34-3 thumping of the Pittsburgh Steelers this past Sunday. Prescott has led the Dallas Cowboys to a 2-1 record in the absence of quarterback Tony Romo, and both quarterbacks have set the high water marks for the most passing attempts without an interception to start a career. Wentz has thrown 102 while Prescott has thrown 99. Billy, which quarterback can sustain this early season success?
Well, just talking in quarterback style, I think it's Dak Prescott because they have the running game. Now, and if you're talking about which team has a better chance, I'll definitely go with the Eagles there because they have a way more well-rounded defense.
Okay,
but
I see that.
With the quarterbacks, Dak Prescott has been playing great. He's starting, as you can see, like each and every game, he's starting to look more and more down the field to get bigger throws instead of these checkdowns, which he's also doing amazing at as well. But already he's got 767 passing yards. He's only got 1 throwing TD, which we're looking to improve on that. But he's also got 2 rushing TDs, which is getting into that athletic part that Tony Romo doesn't really have right there. Now, Carson Wentz is phenomenal. But what makes Dak Prescott so special is that no one expected him to do it.
That's true.
And I've been saying this to all my buddies around that I think Dak Prescott is the Russell Wilson of this year's draft. Nobody saw it coming, but I think he's going to be a star in this league one day. Carson Wentz, I'll tell you right now, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I'm scared to see this guy for the next 10 to 15 years in my division.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll say about Carson Wentz.
Well, see, I'm gonna go with Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz has a better chance to sustain the success. I think Dak Prescott's a great quarterback. Like you said, you didn't expect to see it out of him. You knew he was good in college, but would he fit in the NFL system? We didn't know a lot about Carson Wentz either. He played for South Dakota State. It was a team that wasn't facing always the toughest competition. But what he has done in the first 3 weeks, I have been extremely impressed. And what he did to Pittsburgh, I mean, my goodness, where were you at? Steelers defense. But, you know, it's not just that. Their defense, like you said, is a lot better this year. It's amazing. They were one of the worst defenses in the last few years under Chip Kelly. And now, all of a sudden, they're one of the best in the NFL right now. So I think Carson Wentz has the better team, like you said, right now. I think that Dak Prescott has more weapons offensively because he has a better offensive line and a better running game.
Exactly. But the running game's huge.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great matchup. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if Tony Romo is going to have a job when he comes back. And it's not that I'm saying now
He'll have a job this season.
Maybe.
Next season we'll talk. But this season, Tony Romo's got a job.
But he gets injured too easily. I think Dak Prescott is the future of the Dallas Cowboys.
I agree with that.
Maybe
when
not
Tony
this year,
gets
like
back
you said.
this season, Tony will be under center.
It's going to be a good matchup. Carson Wentz and them, they play twice upcoming. I believe they play pretty soon here in the next week or two. We'll meet October 30th. So we'll get to see then. I think it's going to be good. And I think the division is going to be very competitive.
I'm looking forward to it this year. Sticking with the NFL, one of the most anticipated matchups of the season took place Sunday afternoon when the Washington Redskins took on the New York Giants. The matchup wasn't so much about the teams, but more about the players in particular. Odell Beckham Jr. and Josh Norman faced off for the first time since they got into multiple altercations in their Week 15 matchup a season ago when Norman was with the Carolina Panthers. This one didn't have as much fireworks as the first matchup, but Beckham looked visibly frustrated throughout the game as it seemed Norman got into his head once again for the second time in a row. Norman's team won the game. Kyle, is Josh Norman still under the skin of Odell Beckham, and does Beckham need to start reeling in his emotions?
Oh, he's definitely under the skin. I mean, you could see it during the game. Odell Beckham, he had a great game. I mean, I don't know what he was so frustrated about. 7 catches, 121 yards. He didn't have any touchdowns. Now, it might have not been all about Josh Norman that he was upset about. I think he was upset with Eli Manning a little bit because he didn't give him the ball in that crunch time and, of course, the end zone interception. But I think still Josh Norman is in his head. And even though he had a good game, he is still losing control in those games. Now, there was no big-time penalties. Now, granted, one of the New York Giants lineman was ejected for their second unsportsmanlike penalty when he...
First ejection of the season.
Yeah.
First one making that rule effective.
Yeah, and which the rule was in place because of Norman and Beckham.
Exactly.
So, you know, I think they kept their emotions in control better. I think Josh Norman has more control over his emotions. And I think even though he didn't really win the battle on the field, to be honest, he won the battle on the head, and obviously they won the game.
And the battle on the head is a big one in football, especially whenever you're putting your heart and soul out there, you know, giving it everything you got. And just the thing about what I will say, I'm impressed about Beckham. He left it off the field, all of his emotions. He was able to get to the sideline.
He didn't go headshot anybody.
Exactly.
So.
You know, he was able to keep the control on the field. I can completely understand his frustration. The man wants to win. He's a competitor. He doesn't expect anything but the best from his teammates and himself. And so, I got to be honest, he had a little bit of reason to be frustrated with Eli Manning. Eli Manning during crunch time of those games, just he really let him down.
You can be frustrated, but don't act like a little child on the field.
I agree. Right? Okay,
you're a professional athlete. This is a professional environment. I understand being passionate about winning. I think his passion is great. You got to be passionate in the game of football to win. But at the same time, you have to be able to reel in your emotions and continue to play. There was plenty of time left in that game, and for him to lose it on the sideline. Plus, you're causing controversy with some of your teammates like that. Now, I mean, I understand the players, they understand. But I just think he needs to reel in his emotions. Josh Norman is winning this battle still. The team is winning the game, and he's winning the mental challenge, which is the best way you can do it.
It is.
Well, now it's time for our weekly segment called Who You Got. So, Billy, last week, you beat me. I was really off last week.
I was pretty well on all my college picks. My NFL picks, not so much. We're hoping to improve this
We both
week.
got the NFL ones wrong. The college ones, I'm looking at, you were 4-2, and you won all the college picks, and I was 1-5. I got Ole Miss right. Thank you, Ole Miss, for not making me look horrible. But, it was tough, and none of my teams, I actually got blown out in most of them, so like Michigan State. So it was pretty embarrassing, but hopefully I can do better this week. We'll see.
We'll get it done.
Yeah, let's get started. So on Friday, Christian McCaffrey and number 7 Stafford traveled to Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington to take on the number 10 ranked Washington Huskies. Billy, who you got in this one?
Washington's a good team, but McCaffrey and Stafford, too much. Got to go with Stafford.
And, this was a tough call for me. I said all day yesterday trying to figure out, and it was almost a coin toss, and I just couldn't figure it out. I don't know enough about Washington because I haven't seen them. They play Pac-12, and it's hard to get those games.
I like them.
Yeah.
But Stanford's got that guy, and Christian McCaffrey.
I like Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to go with Washington. I think that Stanford's offense has struggled a little bit here early on, and McCaffrey hasn't yet to really explode. Plus, a first-year starting quarterback still in Burns. I'm going to go with Washington. I think they finally take advantage of the big stage.
All right, we're already starting off with different picks. The number 4 ranked Michigan Wolverines face their first true test of the season as they take on the number 8 Wisconsin Badgers in Ann Arbor. Kyle, who you got in this one?
Well, I chose against Wisconsin last weekend, and they won. But I'm not going to do it again. Michigan, I think they win this game. They haven't faced anybody yet. Really, if you want to say they faced anybody, they faced Colorado, who's actually been a surprise this year. But I'm going with Michigan. I just think that Michigan's the best team in that one.
The way honestly, I'm going to go with Michigan as well. I think, that Wisconsin, I picked them to win last week. They're a great team, and they could even pull this one out. But I think that Michigan's got the edge with Jim Harbaugh at coach. The way he's just transformed this Michigan team. They came from irrelevant to 5 years ago to now being number 4 in the country. So I'm going to go with Michigan, and I think it's going to be a close one.
Tough to win on the road at Michigan State and Michigan in back-to-back weeks. So, in the Big 12, preseason favorites Oklahoma and number 21 TCU collide at AMG Stadium in Fort Worth. Billy, who are you going with in that one?
I got TCU. I think they got a chip on their shoulder to beat Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's showing signs of weakness in all forms of their game, and I think TCU's foaming out the mouth to exploit it.
Well, bye week for TCU. That defense is going to be solid this week. Gary Patterson is not going to have another poor showing defensively. TCU wins it. I'm not even going to say it's close. I think TCU is going to take advantage. I think Oklahoma starts 1-3, and Bob Stoops is on the hot seat.
There it is.
And possibly, who knows, getting fired again. I don't know, maybe.
Saturday night showcases a colossal early season matchup in the ACC as Heisman frontrunner Lamar Jackson and number 3 Louisville travels to Death Valley to take on Deshaun Watson and number 5 Clemson. Kyle, who you got?
I'm going with Clemson, and this was surprising to me. This was surprising to me. I have been really harsh on Clemson to start the year. I have not been impressed with him. I have not been impressed with Deshaun Watson. But I think this is the stage. This is the time. Deshaun Watson makes it known that they are Clemson, that they are a good team. They are one of the best teams in the nation. I think Lamar Jackson is going to struggle against a very good defense. He's going to put up yards and points, but I think he will struggle. I'm going Clemson.
You know what? That caught me off guard. I'm going to go with Louisville. I think Lamar Jackson is going to just further his Heisman Trophy candidacy. And I just think that he's just going to overall just have his way with this Clemson defense.
Really?
Like you said, you weren't impressed with him. I haven't been impressed with him. I think, yes, they might play better because it's a big-time game and they're looking forward to being on that big stage. But I think Louisville's too much. I'm going with Louisville.
I mean, it's going to be a good game either way. It could go either way, but I'm going to go with Clemson, though. So in the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks travel to East Rutherford, New Jersey to take on the New York Jets. Billy, who you got in that one?
You know what? This wasn't a tough one for me, but I got to go with Seattle. I think the Jets are going to bounce back. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to bounce back from that 6-game interception. But I also think Seattle's got just too good of a defense, and it'll come down to a close one that Seattle pulls out.
Well, see, I kind of went either way on this one. I wanted to go with the Jets, but I ended up going with the Seahawks. And, Russell Wilson's had some injuries problems right now. He's suffering a knee injury right now, but he's going to play. The Seahawks found a way offensively last week. I think that they're going to find a way. And like you said, 6 interceptions from Fitzpatrick. He will bounce back, but I just don't think the Jets have enough. I think Seahawks pull it out.
The Pittsburgh Steelers will host the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night. Kyle, who you got?
Well, this was another tough one for me. I wanted to go with the Chiefs. Their defense has been great, but I'm going to stick with Pittsburgh. They bounced back after that tough loss in Philadelphia where they were thumped pretty good. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I think the Chiefs are a great team, but at home, Pittsburgh, Big Ben, they're going to bounce back.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh as well. I just think that they're going to bounce back. They get LaDavion Bell back this week. Their offense is going to be moving. I don't think they'll be held to that many points again this season even. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
And finally, on Monday night, the Minnesota Vikings host Eli Manning and the New York Giants. Billy, who you got in that one?
You know what? I thought about it real hard, and I'm going to go with the Giants.
Really?
And
Okay.
here's why. I think Eli Manning's upset with the way he played last weekend, and he's always shown the ability to bounce back and play up to a higher level and caliber that he expects himself to play. And I think Odell Beckham's going to play better, and I think their defense is going to play better. And, the Vikings have been on a good run, but I think it's their time to fall.
I'm going to go with the Vikings, actually. I think the Vikings at home get the job done. Their defense is unbelievable. What they did in Carolina this past weekend, we both picked Carolina in that one. And the offense, Sam Bradford all of a sudden decided that he is an NFL quarterback.
I don't know what happened.
He's been able to pick up that system well. I'm going to go with Minnesota. I think their defense is probably one of the best in football right now.
If not the best.
Yeah.
Texas Tech football opens up conference play tomorrow night at the Jones AT&T Stadium against the Kansas Jayhawks. The Red Raiders are coming off a bye week and looking to get off to a 1-0 start in Big 12 play. Kyle, what improvements will you be looking at from Tech, and overall, how do you see the game being played out?
Well, first off, I think the bye week, hopefully they used it to shore up some holes on the defense side of the ball.
The least.
Allowing 43 points a game, 531 yards per game. They got to do something on the defensive side of the ball to help Patrick Mahomes and that offense. That offense is one of the best in the nation.
They need to improve on the running game, too.
Yeah, that was one of the other things. I think DeMarcus Felton is going to be the starter. Maybe Justin Stockton gets a start, but Felton's last performance, 16 carries, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I just don't think Stockton's got the meat to carry. I mean, he just didn't have enough beef on him to run through the tackles.
He's a great open field runner.
Great,
but
one of the
like
best in the game.
Between the tackles, I don't know. They don't use him right. He needs to go to the outside edge and be used more on the outside. I think Felton is a better runner up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I would look for him to get a lot more carries and Justin Stockton maybe to be more of a pass catcher.
Yeah, maybe should go ahead and let Cliff know about that.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm going to go look at? I'm going to look at the Kansas side and just, the way that they're playing this year, they're not playing very good.
Yeah.
They've got one win versus Rhode Island where they happen to put up a good amount of points.
They stormed the field. They stormed the field.
And so, when that's your only win, I don't think you're poised for a great season.
Yeah.
I think Red Raiders take this one pretty easily.
Do you think the Red Raiders are going to struggle like they did last year against Kansas, or they come out and blow them out early?
I think we blow them out early. It's a Thursday game. Our guys are going to be pumped up in front of a big crowd, and they'll be ready.
I'm looking for a strong performance from our defense. Hopefully they'll come through.
Hopefully we can hold them to under 20 points. That'd be phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, we just want to offer our condolences to the families of Jose Fernandez, a 24-year-old right-handed pitcher for the Miami Marlins who passed away Sunday morning in a boating accident, and also the families of Arnold Palmer, one of golf's all-time greats, who passed away Sunday night. He was 87 years old due to heart problems.
Palmer was a legend in the sport of golf. Not only did he reach people in the sport of golf, but he reached people beyond that. His loving personality was loved by many, as well as Jose Fernandez. He was a young and upcoming pitcher that inspired many and touched so many with more than just baseball, but just with the love that he showed everybody. And it's truly a sad day in sports to see this happen.
Yeah, tough weekend.
It was.
Well, that's our show for this week's edition of MCTV Sports 101. Join us next week for the latest big-name stories in sports. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. Till next time.